Today, we're talking dysbiosis, and I'm actually going to share a consult that I did, how that all went down. And so, if you're somebody who is dealing with dysbiosis or have experienced it, this will be a really good episode for you. If you are somebody who has a lot of mysterious health problems, gut problems, you're just finding you're not tolerating a lot of things that you're eating, you feel like you have a really limited diet, I want you to lean in on this episode today. Lean in and listen to what I'm going to walk you through today, this consult that I had. And it actually was a pretty special consult because it was with one of my students, one of my nursing students. So I'll tell you how this went down. This just happened yesterday. And normally, I do not do consults for free at all. But this was a student, and she said, "Hey, Professor Rosa," she goes, "Do you know anything about dysbiosis?" And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "I've ordered testing on some clients and I know about it." I said, "What's up?" And she goes, "I had some testing done a while ago and I can't eat really anything. My diet is so limited. I'm just so tired all the time. And I'm just tired of, eating differently than everybody else around me. And I got these results. I've had all this testing done and I don't really understand what it means. Can you look at this and kind of help me understand what this means or what you think about it?" And I said, "Come here, girl. I got you. Let's look at it." And again, I don't do at all free consults, but she's my student. And I looked at this as a teaching moment for her because I was going to quiz her. This is kind of how I operate when I'm with students and I'm teaching them. I ask them questions about what we're looking at. And so I said, I can weave that into what we're doing right now with her. So I had her come over and she pulled up her test results like she was ready. She had the test results on her phone and everything. And she has had really extensive gut microbiome testing. That's what I was going to, ask her about. And so we were looking at her testing and I'm looking at it and looking at it. And then she said, "I also had this kind of blood work done." And then she showed me all the blood work. So we reviewed everything and I said, "Do you know what dysbiosis is, first of all?" And she goes, "Yeah." And she told me what it was. And so I'll relay that to you in a very simple terms. Dysbiosis is just an imbalance in your gut flora and the bugs that are living inside of your digestive tract. There's an imbalance somewhere. So there's a dysbiosis. Dys doesn't agree. Okay. There's either too much or too little. And in your gut, there needs to be a good balance of bacteria, good and bad, because they're doing stuff in there. So dysbiosis is there's an imbalance in there somewhere. And this imbalance can lead to a lot of GI issues, a lot of metabolic issues, a lot of mood issues, nutritional deficiencies. It can wreck with your focus and your energy levels and your muscle mass. And so I'm thinking about my student because, like, I want her to pass. Like, I remember what it was like to be in school. Like, I want this girl to pass, right? So I said, let me see what I can do to kind of help her out in the moment right now. So we started talking, looked over all her lab work, and then I sat her down and I said, "Listen," I said, "how long has this been going on for where you've noticed that you really can't eat anything?" I said, when did you first start to notice that you were having trouble with foods? Has it been all your life?" And she was like, "No." She said, "When I was younger, I pretty much ate whatever I want. It wasn't the healthiest, but I could eat whatever I want." And just to bring you like up to speed on like what she physically looks like on the outside right now, she's very tiny, she's very petite, she's very thin. Okay, this is what she looks like right now. So she said back in the day, she was eating whatever. She's like, "I probably ate too many carbs and all of this," but she said she never had any issues. And I said, "Well, when did you really start to notice that you had problems with food?" And she said, "Probably about 2 years ago." And I said, "Okay." I said, "So about 2 years ago," I said, "what changed for you?" And at first she was going to like food or her health. That's where she went to first. She said, "Well, nothing, like nothing, really changed. I just couldn't tolerate foods anymore. And it was just hurting my stomach all the time. And I just wasn't feeling good." And I said, "About 2 years ago," I said, "did you experience any kind of trauma? Did you have any type of traumatic event happen to you?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "I did." And I didn't go into all what happened to her because I didn't care. That doesn't apply to the situation. I didn't ask her what happened. I said, "That's the cause of this whole thing right now." I said, "I can bet that once you process your trauma, work through your trauma," I said, "I bet you will start to notice an increase in your ability to eat new foods, to tolerate new foods, to have a desire more to eat different foods." I said, "I can bet that a lot of this inflammation, a lot of this irritation of your gut will start to go away." I said, "But you need to tackle this trauma and resolve it and deal with it." I said, "Work with a therapist, work with somebody and work through it." I said, "Because once you start to do that," or I said, I said, "I can, recommend more testing. I could recommend you take all these supplements," because that was another thing. She told me she was taking all these supplements, and trying this and trying that. And I said, "I could recommend to you probiotics, fish oil. I could recommend to you keto, carnivore," because we talked about that too. She had tried all of that. Um, I said, "Because those will absolutely work." I said, "Those will help to improve your situation." I said, "But it's not going to make it go away." I said, "You're never going to completely heal from this until you heal that trauma that's underlying all of it." I said, "And I can bet anything that once you start to work through that, unpack that, resolve that, then all of these gut symptoms will start to dissipate and you'll feel so much better." And she was like, "Yeah, I know. I know." And I said, "I know." I said, "We just had to talk through it." I said, "But that is really the root of it." And I bring up this consultation because I'm very forthright and transparent about what I can do for you, what would benefit you, and what's really going on. What is really going on with you, and the underlying factors behind what you might be experiencing when it comes to your health or to your body. Because it could be a spiritual issue, could be an emotional issue, could be a mental issue. There's a lot of things that drive our physical health, our physiology. There are so many things in our lives that do this. Stress does it. I could go on and on. I'm not going to make a whole video. I'm not going to go on in this whole video about all of that. But just to bring it back to this specific consult about dysbiosis, um, this is something that I see so often. And it's something that I've talked about when people have booked calls with me and we start talking through things. I'm like, you really don't need anything that I have to offer. You really just need to work with a therapist, seriously. And it's actually on my intake form. If you apply to work with me and you go to book a call, there's a questionnaire, a very thorough, in-depth questionnaire that you will go through. And one of the questions literally asks you straight up, are you working with a therapist right now? And if you aren't, are you open to working with one if I feel like you will benefit and you will progress by having one? Because I'm not a therapist. I got a therapist, but I am not a therapist, okay? But therapy is so beneficial. Like I have a therapist, I got a coach, like I am coached up, I'm therapied up. I'm serious about my health and my body and my performance. So I don't play around with any of that. And I want the same for you. I want women to really elevate their standard when it comes to their health. And therapy is a great way to complement, supplement what you're doing physically with your body, because you can try all the things. But if your brain, your heart, your soul are not aligned with that, your physical body is only going to take you so far. So think about all of you holistically, and that's where I took this consult, was holistically. It wasn't just let me look at these test results and tell her what to do based on these results, because that shit had not worked for her. It's not going to work. Doesn't apply. There's so many more layers. There's so much more going on behind the scenes with her. Okay. So she felt better after the consult. She felt much more clear, knew exactly what she was supposed to do. And now she doesn't feel so frazzled and so frenzied. And now she's going to be able to focus on school and doing what she needs to do. And then she can really plot out her next steps with that. So take what you will from today's video, from my consult with her. If you feel what I'm saying and then leave a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking, what your questions are. Okay. And if you're wanting to work together one-on-one, I have a couple different ways. If you're just looking for lab results and me to interpret your lab results and stuff like that, which is kind of the most number one common request that I get, I do offer that service. It's $200 if you want to spend an hour together going over test results that you've had and you want me to look at them with you and kind of let you know what's really going on with them. Do the same type of consult situation is $200. You can go ahead and book that with me. But if you want a detailed plan and you want something that's customized and bespoke to you, if you really want to biohack your body and get into the best health of your life, whatever that might look like for you, then I do have a way to work with me one-on-one for 12 months. So that's another option that you have. And even within that, I have two different tiers, two different levels, entry points that you can come into, two different price points that you can come into. If you're interested in learning more about that, just DM me about it. No big deal. Okay. So if you found this helpful for you because you're dealing with dysbiosis, great. If you think it will be helpful for a friend or somebody that you know dealing with dysbiosis, go ahead and give it a share and send it out to them. All right. And if you have any questions, again, drop them in the chat. And that's all I have for today's video. I just wanted to share about um, that moment that I had with a student yesterday. I thought it was so sweet that she trusted me enough to want to look at her results like that and talk about them, and that she cares about her health like that, because she's going to be an amazing nurse. She's going to be fantastic. So I want her to succeed. So that's why I helped her out there, and she learned a lot. I know she's going to take that moment that we had together, and she's going to have a patient one day, a client one day, and she's going to be able to implement exactly what we did with them. And that's my biggest hope for what I do, how I teach, um, and when I interact with students. So, all right. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. And like I always say, for balanced life, just add spice. I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.